So I had a feeling that Incinerate getting a stagger would be massive for the ability and my build and playstyle, but it was even better than I could have imagined. The synergy between Incinerate now having a stagger, Flourish and Finish, and then Grasping Vines just makes for some ridiculous combos now on this setup, and is even better than when I used to run it with the old Incinerate. But we got a bunch of PvP clips today. Played a lot on stream, and really want to show you guys what the build looks like in action. We got a little bit of a brawl here on the back point, and I've got a little brute to help us with some support here, as it does a pretty good job of pushing people away. But we got a pretty tanky Sword and Shield greatsword player. I'm playing with Astro as usual, and get a dirty Incinerate cancel right on that Spear player as he tries to jump into us. Just loving the fact that we have a on-demand stagger like that, and with the increased speed on the activation on it, it's even better to land. And right as our Incinerate comes back up, this Spear player ends up just walking face first into it and taking the Incinerate to the death there. But we turn our attention back to this Sword and Shield player, and we need to turn our attention to the healer. I try to go for a stagger with the Incinerate, and we just barely miss. Definitely think I could have killed right there if we were able to chain that Incinerate into another combo. But we continue the pressure. The healer has popped Stormform, but it has gone down. And we see if we can go ahead and line up a combo here. I go for a burnout, and I notice that Astro is a little bit low, so we try to go for the flourish, just to provide a little bit of pressure and push back the Sword and Shield player to get them off of our teammate there. And we do manage to switch the pressure, but again, the healer is very, very low. I managed to line up some damage, and again, we just barely missed the Incinerate. Getting so lucky with this healer, but we got a wild teammate who jumps off the side with a detonate, and we were able to follow up off of that detonate to get a kill. But yeah, you're gonna start seeing the potential with those combos. You can really start to line up some ridiculous amounts of pressure and control if you land that first Incinerate. But we're gonna take a look at the next clip here. We get ourselves into a little bit of a 2v1 against a musket and a bow here, and I notice that I start getting shot. So we're gonna do a little bit of evasive movement to see if we can get away. Do an invade here, and we flush behind the pillar to give ourselves a little bit of line of sight. And then we're gonna go ahead and see if we can try to land that cheeky Incinerate. But again, we just barely miss it on this mage, and we get flourished back by the musket player. But we land a disgusting Grasping Vines, throw in a fire heavy attack and a fireball, turn back a ton of damage. The enemy rapier player goes for a flush, but hasn't realized that we had started the wind up for our Incinerate. Get a beautiful kill on them there. And we try to see if we can go ahead and pick up this mage as well. We get them pretty low, but they go ahead and jump back into the rest of their team. But coming up here, you're going to see how crazy this build can get once you start to line up some of those Incinerates. Because, like I said, now that we have Flourish and Finish and then Grasping Vines, you can stick on people very, very, very well now with having those two abilities. But we make our way back to the back line, and again, we're kind of going healer hunting here. I try to see if I can give Astro some assistance here, but we throw the Incinerate, and I thought I missed, but he actually does end up walking into the Incinerate, which does apply the stagger. Find the kill, and then we're going to go ahead and switch our attention over to the rapier player, get a cheeky little Grasping Vines, and he's going to end up getting jumped on by quite a few players. So I'm going to turn my attention to the healer and just take a look at this pressure. We open up with a Flourish and Finish, land a couple of attacks with the evade, roll into the Incinerate. I try to go for a fireball to finish off the kill there, but he does a good job of evading it. Jump back into the rapier again, cancel the burst heal with the flourish, go in for a couple of burst damage with the evade resets. Again, find a disgusting Incinerate out of that combo. It's just such a smooth and buttery combo now. It's something that I tried to do in the past when I used to use this combo. Roll into Incinerates out of evade combos, but it just was a little bit too slow to reliably land. But with the speed getting added to it last patch and it now having a stagger, it is such a fun time using this ability now. But let's take a look at an arena match that I got in today. Opening up this match, it looks like one of the enemy players is going to go ahead and pretty much beeline it straight for us. Goes for a leaping strike and a shield bash, but we do a good job of avoiding that. And then we line up an incinerate to get the stagger, but right as we're going for that, get trapped by a pretty much perfectly timed gravity well and go down. So that's going to give you a kind of an idea of what we're going up against in this match. Medium sword and shield with tracking on every part of their basic attack chain, and a great axe to throw into the mix is going to make it pretty difficult to stay alive if they all decide to focus me. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and try to be a little bit more evasive and not get caught and keep my eye on that Great Axe player. But again, the Sword and Shield goes ahead and charges right for us. We again are able to dodge the Leaping Strike and Shield Bash and keep ourselves pretty healthy for the moment, but we start to take a little bit of damage as we take a couple of spear pokes there, and we still are pretty much taking pressure from him as he wants to see if he can get me out of the way, it seems. But I'm trying to do a good of a job as I can of evading. We do land the incinerate to get the stagger, but we run ourselves out of stamina to do it. And like I mentioned, with that medium hop and the tracking on the melee attacks, he's able to keep up on us and get that kill. So already match point in this game, and we're going to need to play really well if we're going to want to pull this match out. So again, I'm pretty sure he's going to go ahead and make his way to us, which he does right away. Dodge the shield bash, get a beautiful roll into incinerate right in his face, follow up with a flourish and finish. Almost finished that kill there, but he retreats back into his teammates and gets a little bit of space. I tried to see if I can read the incinerate there, but it looks like one of our teammates had jumped onto him, and following up on their pressure, we were able to get some backstabs in and finish off that sword and shield player. So we at least have the guy who's trying to focus us out of the way, and it looks like we're going to be able to survive in this match a little bit longer. We're going to go ahead and focus our attention onto the bow player. Both go for a flourish and finish and don't really get much from it, but it looks like the other fight kind of intersects into ours, and I'm going to go ahead and look for a burnout into that bow player, and he does make it away for a second, but we flush back around the pillar, find that fireball, get the kill, and it looks like we're going to be able to stay alive for now in this arena as we manage to take out this opponent here. But yeah, you can kind of see how Incinerate allows you to open up some pretty disgusting pressure and combos on people. When we rolled the shield bash from that one player and found that Incinerate in the face, we were pretty much from there able to just open up pressure, and it ended up finding us that kill. But we are not out of this yet. We still got 2 rounds to go if we want to make it out of here. And we're opening up this round again. I'm pretty sure that while they're going to be a little bit more cautious, the shield player definitely is still going to have his attention on me. As you can see, he's definitely being a little bit more cautious with his approach. He does find the shield bash this time, but we find a disgusting incinerate into the grasping vines, and our teammate follows up with a beautiful sweep on that combo. It's actually insane, the synergy between incinerate and grasping vines, which I'll talk about in a second, but we're going to go ahead and see if we can just find out or follow through and find the kill here. It is 3v2, but I've definitely seen 3v2s get lost. So we focus our attention up on the bow player, find a flourish and finish, keep up with pressure, find a beautiful combo there actually, follow through with the flesh, and we're able to find the kill on the secondary attack. And then we are going to be able to 3v1 the final opponent here. But yeah, it's pretty much a free Grasping Vines. Grasping Vines is an incredibly strong CC, but it can obviously be iframed. But if you incinerate somebody, you can pretty much get a free Grasping Vines because you can instantly use it while they're staggered, as you saw there, to allow for some pretty disgusting combos. But we clawed our way back up. It's match point here, and we're going to see how this match goes. Definitely need to be careful here and not get caught, because if we go down, it can definitely be a pretty quick loss. It seems the shield player has stopped focusing us, but we start to take a little bit of pressure from the bow player, so I make my way behind the pillar, and we find the sword and shield player in transit low from our other 2 teammates. Finish off the kill there, and again, not only offensively but defensively, Incinerate has been insane, because just like that, with melee players in your face, if you can find a Incinerate when they don't have grit up, it pretty much just stops them in their track and gives you a lot of breathing room. But we make a little bit of space as the bow player was playing pretty aggressive to try to finish us there. And after the recovery, we almost finish him out there with the flourish and finish. Find the incinerate on the Gredex player, but he did have grit. Our teammates are able to find the finish on the bow player there. Just barely space out the detonate, and just a crazy comeback. I've been really enjoying Incinerate, and you can really see once you start to land Incinerates how much it opens up for you in fights. But yeah, we're gonna close it up with an absolute banger of a 1v1. Heavy armor strength builds have definitely been one of the toughest matchups, being that you really can't trade with the damage mitigation differences, but Incinerate and this new ability setup, excuse me, have definitely changed the game in that regards. But we try to see if we can find an opening with Flourish and Finish. Don't find one, open up with that Incinerate Grasping Vines combo, and we essentially use everything in our arsenal there. We go ahead, use a Flourish and Finish, put in a bunch of damage with the evade combo, and we pretty much only get him down to a third of his health left. So that's why it's really hard for us to play these matchups. But as you saw, we can find openings for burst and dictate the pace a little bit better for ourselves. But we get very low as we make a couple of mistakes there. And we're gonna see if we can buy ourselves a little bit of time to just regenerate a little bit as another player ends up jumping into the point here. But the homies are gonna go ahead and take that opponent out so we can have our little 1v1 here. And as we both kind of reset and get back to it here, we jump back on. I tried to dodge roll again to avoid that stun, but it doesn't go off, and we do catch the stun to the face. But we cancel the shockwave with the incinerate. Get a beautiful cancel there. Try to trade, but he does open up with the maelstrom, so not a favorable trade. Do manage to get a stagger there. Get caught in the gravel while we're casting burnout, so really bad situation, but we just barely eke it out with the evade and flush there. He decides to go ahead and trade with me, which is definitely not a good idea on this build. We find another Grasping Vines, go for an Incinerate, and again turn in a bunch of damage back onto him. Go ahead and find the Flourish there to cancel the Whirlwind, just barely eke out and space the detonate there, and we jump back into it here, doing a little bit of a better job of avoiding his CCs. Again, we cancel the shockwave with our Flourish stagger this time, and just get him almost taken out, but so much pressure, so much aggression that we have put back onto this player right now. We iframe the stun, grid out the knockdown, get a beautiful exchange there, get a very favorable trade, and just sit inside the gravel again and just turn back a bunch of pressure onto this opponent. Missed the flares there, but absolute banger of a fight. GG's to that opponent. Such a fun fight, and that fight essentially is how I've been feeling on this build. It is so much fun once you get going. And I can definitely see myself running this setup for a very long time. But yeah, as always, thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.